Welcome to the Passion Professors podcast hosted by Earth.University, where stories of life experience and purpose inspire and unite humanity. Here's your host, Lindsay Andreotti.
Hey everybody, I'm Lindsay Andreotti, your host of Passion Professors, and I am so excited to have with me today a dear friend and colleague who I've known for more than a decade, Christiane Seuhs-Schoeller. Welcome, Christiane. I want to say a little bit more about who you are, and then I want you to tell the whole world what you're excited about today. I've known Christiane to be a person who has driven her life around this notion of love, power, and purpose. And she's done a lot of work in leadership development, organization design, and some really cool constellation stuff that I am still excited to try out myself. And Christiane has been living in Vienna, Austria, but spending a fair amount of time traveling the world and working with people all over this planet to try to understand and get a better feeling for what it means to be a leader in today's world. So I think I'm going to leave it to you, Christiane, to share with our listeners what it is that you love and what gets you up in the morning. So thanks for being a Passion Professor today.
Oh, Lindsay, I am so excited and thankful and for being here and to be able to share. And thank you for inviting me. It's just so beautiful to be here in this setting together with you after knowing you for so many years.
Yeah, it's so fun.
So let me start. Okay, so passion. For me, purpose and passion are two different things. So let me start with my purpose. And that, of course, has been a journey. It changes over time, but I think I have the sense that I'm at home. I arrived at home when I realized that my personal purpose is the unification of love and power. And that's like a really big, when I first came, when I realized that, when that came up, it was an overwhelm. But then I started thinking, so what does that mean? And what does that mean to apply that in the work? So it came out in a message, and the message was, when love and power are inseparable, humanity will unite. And that was like, oh my God, okay, so that gives me an orientation of what am I passionate about doing? It's all about doing. It's all nice to have a purpose or to have these wonderful words, but what is it? What is it we can do to actually embody that? And so coming from the, organizational world, to me, this is the answer goes through self-organization and what that means for us as humans to shift into this completely different way of being, because it is about shifting our story about love and our story about power and orienting ourselves around purpose. So I am passionate about working with individuals who believe that organizations are the strongest force in the world to actually make a difference.
I love this. Oh my gosh. And you're so right, because organizations are collectives of individuals wanting to accomplish something. So it just makes amazing sense to me. So tell me a little bit more. I got really lit up by your conversation there about the love, the way we need to look at love and power. What are you seeing in this work that in your gift to the planet? Tell us more.
So how do I try and make that short? So when I became aware of that, that unification of love and power, I started to become very curious about the terminology of, we talk about love and we talk about the emotion of love, and we talk about, the love of parents for their children, of partners, loving what you do. And so there's so many different ways of how we use that. And but the unification of love and power set me on a search to sort of say, okay, there's this, this is something that can combine all these different ways of how we look at love. And then I actually ran into a German-American philosopher who was the doctor father of Martin Luther King, and his name is Paul Tillich. And he came up with definitions for both love and power that I find so intriguing.
Ooh, can you share them by chance with us at some point?
Yes,
that would
absolutely.
be fun. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. And by the way, if I may, first quote Martin Luther King, who said, power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. So actually, that is what I found. It's and following up and looking for, reading up on Paul Tillich's stuff, which was actually already written about by someone called Adam Kahane. I don't know if you know about him.
I don't, but that's cool.
Adam Kahane wrote a book about, I think, more than 10 years ago that he calls Power and Love. And I only found that after I was already researching everything around this issue. So that was a great inspiration.
That's awesome.
And I found again Paul Tillich in his book, which was like, oh my God, right? So following this quote of Martin Luther King, and then going and searching for the source, I found Paul Tillich's definition of love and power. And that really set me off. So Paul Tillich defines love as that what connects everything. Yeah. And it is not what makes things connected, but which points us towards what is already connected anyway.
Love that.
So that leads us back into this, we feel love for someone when we feel connected, right?
Yes.
But we are generally connected with everything, and that what connects everything is the love. So that's when it becomes very big.
Yes.
Right?
Oh my goodness. Can I share a little bit in there too, that love feels to me like a frequency. It actually has a characteristic to it in terms of its quality of interaction with anything, whether it be another human being or animals or the earth. There's a feeling, a sensation that is, it's ever present, omnipresent. It's always there. And if you can tune into it like a radio station, it becomes that wash of a feeling of just goodness. So I like where Paul was also talking about that in his way. It's there. It's already connecting everything. It's just a matter of feeling it or seeing it or experiencing it in some way. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and I mean, totally being sort of tuned in. And I think, we have a whole wave of realization of consciousness emerging currently, how that interconnection of everything is important to understand, to actually help us take things forward to become a connected humanity, connected with our world. And so it's all about love.
It is.
And it takes the definition of love way beyond the actual emotion, right? Of course, we sense it as an emotion, but we can also sense it as something much bigger, which is really quite amazing.
It's so amazing. And I see, now I'm beginning to even see in your conversation, and I want to hear you say more about power, because there is tremendous power in an ever-present experience of love. And so I would love to hear what you say about that.
And I connecting to what you said, for a long time, many people sort of say, I mean, we all know the song, The Power of Love, right? And love it. It's sort of an hour time.
Right.
And then many people say love is power. And I there's something in that which was still missing for me. And so then when I researched, power and the things we experience if we go into a judgment of good and bad sides of power, and how does power play out, and really trying to get away from the judgmental side of power over, and people who are overpowering others and using power for their own gain and blah blah blah. That doesn't help me personally to get into a forward energy, and to an energy that makes me passionate, right?
Exactly.
And then again, I found in the definition of Paul Tillich's, in Paul Tillich's definition of power, where he says, power is the drive of everything living to self-realize with increasing intensity and extensity. So I never heard the term extensity before that, but sort of the ever increasing growth, right? So the drive of everything living to self-realize. So self-realize means to become ever more of what you are.
Yes.
Right?
And to have an awareness of that. Yes.
And so of course, our life journey is to become ever more truly who we are. That's our life exploration. So that means being powerful.
Yes.
So suddenly I could have this understanding of power that is actually fascinating. And that, I want to be powerful. I want to be authentically powerful as truly who I truly am by self-realizing. Of course, our personal growth, our continuous learning about our light sides, our shadow sides, our consciousness growing, that is power. It is the drive to self-realize.
Yes.
And yet, if we don't have something that keeps us connected, and that comes back to, power without love is reckless and abusive. I will self-realize at any expense.
Yes.
We can see that in so
everywhere.
many ways, and not going into pointing fingers, but power is something that we are telling ourselves stories that, power is needed to control, power is needed. And then we all go into the rational of how we think things up.
Yes.
And very often let ourselves into that drive. And this is when, in this exploration, suddenly my personal purpose started to make total sense.
Yeah.
Because when the stories, we tell ourselves stories about what love is and what power is, right?
Yeah.
And we see that in so many polarities. It's like either it's loving or it's powerful. So my passion, and now we're there, and that's also about the book that I write, right?
Yes.
If we transcend, so we create our reality through the stories we tell ourselves and through the stories we believe.
Yes.
So what are the new stories that we can tell ourselves about love and about power? Transcend them and then bring them together on this new level, right? Now just imagine, I want you, Lindsay, to be super powerful. I want myself to be super powerful. And then connected with love. Yeah. Just imagine what we can do.
Incredible things.
So.
And you're being that. What I love is that you're actually embodying that at this moment in time. It's what you are, is the embodiment of power and love coming together, even though there are times when in the human experience, fear creeps in, uncertainty, strange, wacky things that we weren't expecting come in. And all of that is part of this journey of learning how to continually tell the story that we want to believe in the one that we really want to see created in the world. And, I know that's what I stand for. I stand for a humanity that's united. I stand for humans learning how to use this apparatus called themselves and have an experience of a soul and a body that is powerful and loving. So I am with you, my sister, in this conversation, big time. I am curious. Tell our listeners a little bit about the book that you are writing and how this is translating into the work you're doing, even right now. Yeah.
Wow. So, first, maybe, the book. Okay. So, it's interesting. The book has, that's sort of been in the making for a while already. And I'm not a classical author. I've written the book once, but that's way, way, way back. And I do write some articles, but I found, especially in the last couple of years, I've been writing articles that through writing, I create clarity for myself. And sometime last year, suddenly this clarity emerged that I am in my work with shift working or holding space for both organizations and individuals to shift into this new way of being together. There was something that still needed exploring, right? So, and in the many conversations I have, and we haven't even yet spoken about, why love, power, and purpose, right? So, it's, but we come to that. We'll come to that later. I felt that there was this draw and this pull for me to focus in on that search, on that quest of, how I don't know what the news stories are. I don't know how that works, but maybe I can explore together, of course, with others as well in conversations like ours, right? And just explore where is the possibility? What are the stories, that possibility? You addressed something, you said fear. So when we always feel fear when something that we know goes away and we don't know what comes instead, right? So, and it's that space in between. How can we hold that space in between to give rise for these new stories that we can then explore?
I love that.
So, and then suddenly I realized, oh my God, it's just, this is an exploration. I want to dive in and just dig as deep as I possibly can and focus on that. And and then then I suddenly realized, so I work quite a lot as an entrepreneur and as a coach and as and so I realized that there was a little bit too much noise in my life, and so I just decided to dim down my everyday work for a while and just immerse myself into this book writing. But of course, as a pioneer of new things, it's not about having the reserves and the riches. So I started a crowdfunding campaign and just thought that maybe people out there would help me, and people are helping me. It's still going on, right?
Because they need this. They want your book.
So I'm right now, you said I'm in Greece, so I'm on a tiny little island with 250 inhabitants and starting to focus on writing that book.
Do you know what's so perfect about you being in Greece right now? The Greeks were the ones who actually categorized love into 9 qualities. And I think it's perfect that your book would be given some time to dig deeper into that conversation by being right at the heart of where it all sort of began from human history. The conversation about love emanated from the Greeks, which
And
is so cool.
yeah, and democracy, if you want to, which is ultimately our conversation.
There you go. So look at that. You were supposed to be in Greece. And what I'm also really appreciating too is that you're seeing this as a place to go deeper into this conversation that you are so passionate about. And you found a way to sustain your life, your third dimensional existence, while also digging deeper into this message that you're here to bring forth. And I love that. And I really wanted to call that out to our listeners also, that as an example, you are an example of a person who found her purpose and passion and who said, I'm doing this. And the roadway, the pathway started to open up because you were open to having that be possible for you too. So I love that what you're doing is just who you are.
You are, Lindsay, you are embodied appreciation. I mean, who wouldn't want to hang out and talk with you forever?
I love that I get to do that too. Yeah, this is part of my love, is to listen to this passion and to hear what people are doing to share it. You know, I think your story is one. First, before I go there, talk about purpose. Tell me a little bit more about where this fits in. And do we all have a purpose, in your opinion?
Yes. I totally believe that we are all here for a reason.
Me too.
Absolutely, totally. Yeah. So, I mean, there's many philosophies and many spiritual teachings and much talk about consciousness and everything. But, I just believe that every single one of us, no matter where in the world, and we are here for a reason. We have a contribution. We have a mark to make. And I think our entire life is there to explore that, to try ourselves out, to fail forward.
Yes.
Yeah. And there is one thing that is really crucially important. That is, there is a difference between personal purpose and organizational purpose.
Yes.
So as an individual, we have personal purpose, and of course we get together with other people and we have conversations, and there's resonance or not, right? And we explore that, and then life happens, and then we learn more, and the definition shifts. And I mean, sometimes we have to reach a certain age to even be able to think about what is my purpose in life. But I think everybody gets there at some point. And especially nowadays, there's so much available and so much talk about that, which I think is awesome.
You know, it's been fun to watch. It is just a sidebar, but related, is to watch this next generation of youth who are under, we'll say they're millennials, under the age of 30. They are now coming in with a lot more awareness of their purpose. And I just am so loving that experience of watching them find it quickly and having the courage to pursue that, even though others around them would tell them, you're crazy. What are you doing? You can't make money doing that, or whatever they say. You know the drill.
So there's lots of stories that are trying to hold humanity back from becoming very purposeful. But anyway, but we're moving on, right?
We're moving on, and we're writing the story. That's what you were just saying. This.
Yeah, and so if we look at, if we understand how, the systemic connectedness of everything, which is, we understand that this is all there are systems, right? And that represent that connectedness. And as the world and humanity as a big system, there are certain needs that emerge.
Yes.
from those systems. They're social systems, right? Or they're natural systems, like, any sort of biodiversity, just as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And needs show up. And depending on my personal purpose, I start to feel resonance with that need that emerges. And then I can engage for a purpose, and other people might want to engage for the same purpose. And that's when we form up as a collective in service of a purpose that is greater than ourselves. That might be helping me embody my purpose, but the organization that forms up is not there to serve me and my purpose. It's the other way around, because I decide to engage with this purpose. And I decide to disengage because it might change. That's an evolutionary phenomenon, right? I might stay very closely connected, or our paths might sort of go away, right?
Yeah.
And so this is about organizations being purpose-driven, right? So organizations that truly serve a need in the world are truly purpose-driven organizations. And this is a really important thing. It's not about creating needs to increase our economic ever growth.
Nope.
This is a completely different story. This is a story of being in service of a need that emerges. And then we want self-organization. But I think that's a whole other story. But let's say what it brings up, it is self-organization is a system where you have distributed power, distributed authority, distributed everything, which means we need to let go of the power over idea.
Yes, because there is nothing like the power over when you're doing things together. You're reminding me of the story of how Earth.University even became a thing to begin with. In that I see this as a chrysalis for the evolution of the caterpillars to butterflies. And what happens in the chrysalis is the liquefaction of what the caterpillar used to know and how it used to be, so that it can self-realize, organize, and come together as an imaginal cell with other caterpillar or other cells to then form the parts of a new butterfly, which they don't even know what that is yet, but they're telling the story of what it could be. And that process of transformation and metamorphosis is what Earth.University was intended to be, is a container to help that for humans. So,
that is so fascinating because that, again, talking about resonance, right?
Yeah.
Because the way I define self-organization, I say it is the evolutionary dance of the universe.
Yes.
Self-organization is the dynamic of the universe.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can call that, you can say from the Big Bang to today, or the chrysalis process, it is an organic, self-organized process, and there is nobody there who calls the shots.
Right.
So, and that's where the whole power and love and then also fear thing comes in, because in, working with organizations and bringing these new ways of being together, and I mean true self-organizing to organizations, means that is a personal development journey for everybody involved, for everybody.
Absolutely true.
And that means letting go of power.
Yes.
But letting go of one way of power, growing into another way of power.
Yes.
It's from being, and that creates so much fear. And because it questions the belief systems, someone has to call the shots. We need people in power. No, we don't. And I think that is actually brings me back to the core of why I think I really, really need to write this book. Because it is about, we talk about letting go of power. No, it's about redefining, re-understanding power and being powerful, but being powerful being powerful together,
Yes.
and serving a purpose in a loving way.
Yes, aligned.
And
I
we
love
can do that in the way we organize. We can actually do that.
Yep.
And so
I believe that, and I'm a disciple for sure for that conversation. And
Yeah.
Christiane, you're a blessing to all of us, that this is your purpose in the world, is to bring this message and to support other human beings and coming together in a loving, powerful, from the inside out kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to know, how can our listeners get in touch with you, both to either help you with the GoFundMe campaign for your book, or also just to connect with you on this topic of stories about love and power that could be changing our planet?
So I have my personal website, which is christianesplace.com.
Okay.
And I created that website just to be there. You know, they have different possibilities to connect with me, to ask me questions around that shift. I talk a lot about self-organization because that's one classical embodying way of unifying love and power as I see it. So christianesplace.com.
Okay.
You can send me an email, which is easy to remember now. It's christiane@christianesplace.com.
Right. And we'll put all this in our description box too for those who are watching. Yes.
Thank you.
But how about your GoFundMe campaign? Where can we find you?
Yeah. Oh, it's on GoFundMe.
Okay.
And it's Love, Power, and Purpose. So it's in GoFundMe, Love, Power, and Purpose. So
beautiful.
And if we could put this at the end of this, I do need the support, especially now with Corona having hit. I mean, I have been a nomad for almost 3 years, but from one day to the next, my workshops, my speaking engagements, everything just completely dropped out.
Disappeared. So, yeah, I know.
You guys, if anybody wants to support me in writing this book, I'll be super appreciative. I need help to do that, and it's been my own journey to be able to speak that out. Yeah. It's actually an act of love, because people who have helped me have, you get this incredible sense of gratitude and joy that people can help for something like that. It's been an amazing journey and a really fabulous experience. So Lindsay, thank you for helping me with this.
It is my true and honored pleasure to have you with us, Christiane. And I do hope that things go extremely well in Greece for the creation of this book, and that all of us will get to see it sometime next year after its completion. And in the meantime, to all of our listeners out there, keep looking for your passion, keep holding the vision that you are love, that you are powerful, and that you have purpose. And we really believe in you too at Earth.University. That's why we're here. So if you're struggling at all to find that, or if it just keeps eluding you, talk to us. Maybe we can help you dig out from underneath whatever's keeping that hidden from you. So we want to thank you, Christiane. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you, everybody out there, for being the fabulous human beings that you are. And I look forward to seeing you again on future episodes of The Passion Professors.
And you're awesome, Lindsay, and beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.